Hello everyone and welcome to A Circle and Salve Women. For today we are going to discuss my latest article on the light trapped inside a box. And for me, again, focusing in on being thankful this month, I really want you to focus on the thought process of why is it that when we have so much light within us that somehow we still feel that we are that light trapped inside of a box, and yet everything could be fine, everything could be well, and we're thinking that there is so much more out there that we should be a part of, or that we should do, or take in, or be able to receive. And there's this form of dissatisfaction within us. And so this is the focus that I am really trying to target today. And primarily when I speak of the light that's trapped inside a box, I'd like to think that for me, and hopefully many can relate, and this is coming from my own experiences in life, I know that it is about comfort, familiarity, and routine that causes me to sometimes be immobile. Comfort is a very interesting piece in life in that it gets us into that cozy lifestyle of thinking, if I didn't move, if this was all there was going to be, then life is well, and I'm comfortable, and I don't need to be challenged. I don't need to run into any problems that I don't have to take in. And so you find comfort in what you already feel that you're surrounded with and that you have immersed yourself into, and that this is something you feel there's really no desire to keep going and to add more. It is really in your comfort zone to not step outside of the circle and just really stay within that circle, and therefore it all of a sudden gives you, again, the next word, familiarity of where you're at. It's something that you wake up to. It's something you go to bed with. It's something that you go about in your day in facing, and you say to yourself, this is familiar to me. And whatever it is that you picture in your mind to be familiar to you is maybe not familiar to anybody else, and yet it is something that you feel is something you have become so accustomed to that doing it any other way would feel different, or would feel challenging, would feel odd, would feel the wrong way perhaps. And so this familiarity within you is an expectation of your own body, your own mind, your own muscle, of knowing that this is your routine. And I know that for me, sometimes familiarity doesn't take much thinking. You know, when you take an exit, sometimes you wonder, how in the world did I exit without even being mindful of it? It's just becoming such the next word, routine, that all of a sudden your mind no longer has to think about it. It is something that ends up being a part of you, that your body becomes mobilized in that direction. It becomes perhaps just automatic, robotic about it, and therefore it really gets into that state of just being about who you are in the way that you have really transformed yourself to become, in the means of it's your everyday. It's how you are. Whether it's right or wrong for anyone else, it's right for you. And so you are in that comfort, you are in that familiarity, you are in that routine. And yet you say to yourself, this light that is trapped inside of a box is what I'm feeling. And I'm wondering if I do open up the lid, and if I do let it out, will I then run thin? And then there goes the people like myself who can then relate to that. Because I know for me, whenever I do feel that I am in the comfort or familiarity or routine of things, I have to switch it up. it becomes to me like all of a sudden a reminder I should not be in this position where all of a sudden I'm okay with it. You get into winning something. Let's say you're in a marathon or you're in some kind of a race, or you have gotten a promotion. You think that that was going to be it, that this is where you would be for the rest of your life. And then all of a sudden this dissatisfaction starts to come back again. And you say to yourself, oh goodness, there's more light to me than I thought. And then all of a sudden there is this desire to be more and to become more. And it just continues on and on and on. And for me, there is that perhaps two mindsets, where there are people who have arrived at comfort, routine, and familiarity, and they say, this is it, right? This is it for me, and I'm good with it, and I'm totally at peace and filled with so much joy. And then there are those who are still running that race and trying to get to that level of that comfort, the familiarity, that routine of things in life, where you then are fighting every day within yourself. And those who are in that comfort and that familiarity and routine, maybe they have no fear, or perhaps there are those who do fear that if there were to be any change, there's that fear of that change. If there were to be any failure, there's to be that fear of failure. If there was to be any unknown, there's that fear of the unknown. And if you have run into circumstances where you did run into some changes, some failures, and some unknown that took your breath away, that took all your energy to a point of exhaustion, where you say to yourself, I cannot wait to get out of this devastation. I cannot wait to get out of this situation. And when I arrive again, if I ever was in comfort and familiarity and routine, I want to stay there, and I don't ever want to step outside of that box again. And I truly believe that this is why a lot of us have that light trapped in a box. Because even though we feel like, goodness, there's so much more of me, I am this light trapped in a box. And this is why we have this tendency to be discontent. We really look and within ourselves every day to go, oh my goodness, am I just doing this again and again and again? And what is there going to be of me that is any different than what I'm already doing today? Then all of a sudden there's this hunger and this desire to be more. And so, you get to that point of where it's just always constantly this. But yet, those who then say to themselves, but I'm not afraid to run into, again, if there were to be any change, any failures, or any unknown, I cannot be afraid of that. Those are the ones that go, because what if the change is better? What if the change is good? What if the change is something so satisfactory to me that I will then feel that I have arrived? What if my failures make me stronger? What if my failures make me a better person? Or that it will help me to grow, to become who I was meant to be, all the way through to the point of the level of knowing that I am whole, that I'm unified within? And what if the unknown is something that will never be discovered unless I arrive to it or I get there? And there's that person who is then persevering and moving forward and with that mindset. So you have to then switch up your mind to go, what then do I fear? Do I fear losing comfort, familiarity, and routine? Or do I fear change? Do I fear failure? Do I fear the unknown? That is that fight why we then feel to let go or hold on to that light trapped inside of a box. And it's a mental part, right? And if we have to really analogize that, it's the perception of, are you really truly trapped? Or has that lid always been open, but you are just holding it back from popping it up and letting it go. And then being careful, because those who have let it go, if we don't have a plan and all of a sudden we illuminate wider horizons, we have expanded ourselves, what happens to light when all of a sudden that ball then spreads out? It becomes thinner light. And all of a sudden the light travels in many, many directions. And yeah, you know, you have shed light over here. You have shed light over there. You have shed light over here. But at what cost? Did we let go of some things to get to that? Did we all of a sudden forget some things that we had in that box when it was just one ball of light? And did we all of a sudden spread ourselves out so much that that energy is no longer collected as one ball of fire that's illuminating with great warmth? Has it now become so spread out that you're feeling galactical about it, and that things are feeling cold on the outskirts of your galaxy, and all of a sudden you no longer feel that warmth because your light has shined light on everything that you have desynthesized yourself from the actual purpose of you spreading yourselves out, so that all of a sudden what you're doing to then help others and give to others and then touching the lives of others have no longer given you any more warmth to feel yourself. And that is yet another fear that I believe people have to be careful with. And I would then like to say, I don't think it has to be a fear. I think it just has to be an awareness to not, if and when you realize that that box, that light that's trapped inside, can be then opened up, because there's really no key that's locking it in, with precaution as to what you would need to make sure you never let go of, that you never ever forget, that you don't lose sight of, as you are then helping to spread yourself out, to give light to other things and expand your horizons, that you don't forget what made you whole, what made you who you were, and what made you at that point where you did have comfort, where you did have familiarity, where you did have routine, so that you don't lose it in the means to then spread yourselves out. Because at that point, when you do spread yourself out, you may then have lost yourself right in the center of things, and your center is at a loss, or that it's forgotten, or that it's misplaced, and now you no longer have a center, and now you're just going about your daily life thinking, wow, I did spread myself, and I am expanded to a point where everyone is seeing my light. Everyone is seeing it from a distance, and I am highly illuminated, and everyone can see it. But why is my box empty? Why do I feel as if I have opened up the lid and I have shined upon everything that I possibly can, and everyone has felt my light, everyone has seen my light, and yet it is cold where it was in that box when it was just closed, and I thought I was trapped, and that I thought that I had to spread myself out. So there's that middle. There's that middle of really preparing yourself for those thoughts, of knowing that even though you are thinking to be that light trapped inside a box, you know you're not. You know that there's no key, there's no padlock that has locked you in. Awareness of that first. But when you do let your light out, where are you going? And what are you going to? And what are you needing to make sure is still inside that box, so that you never ever forget your center, you never forget your core, you never forget what made you whole. You can still acquire comfort. You can still acquire familiarity. You can still acquire routine if you don't let go of that light that you have so worked up to then be inside of that box before you let it out. Just don't lose yourself as you spread yourself thin. There's nothing wrong with being grateful for all that you already have and cherishing all of that, and then spreading it to everyone else that may need it. But at the same time, don't all of a sudden forget people need your warmth. They need, in that case, your joy, your peace, your inspiration, your strength, your fearlessness, your sense of direction. If you don't have that center anymore, you are then all of a sudden no longer able to direct anyone with your light. It's just light that has spread itself thin, has spread out with no point of location as to its center core. So think about that, because I would like to think that we are all sunshine in a box. And yes, we can all spread ourselves out. But if it was all of a sudden to just dissipate and spread itself out too much, what warmth would we have? Where all of a sudden nothing would feel like it had a sense of being, that we would all just feel cold, that we would all feel there's nothing there to hold us together, and we're all just going about our way. There's no purpose in light if there's really no warmth in there, right? I mean, we would just, I don't know, be without vegetation. How would our air feel? How would our life be without all the flowers blooming? Let's think about that. And I hope my analogy today has really gotten deep into your hearts, because if you've ever felt that you are that light trapped inside of a box, you're not alone. Just have a plan. Just know that yes, you can. Yes, you can spread yourself out there, but be careful not to lose what made you that sunshine, so that you don't wear yourself thin. Have a great day, everyone. In the words of my mother, God bless us all. Continue to be you. Continue to keep doing you in the best you can, but don't let yourself go to a point where you lose your core of who you are. Just keep shining and giving off your warmth, not to a point where all of a sudden you become cold. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your time.